We are in Cologne, Germany with Philipp, one of our former exchange students, and you are on Inspire Me with Rotary. We came into the main train station, which is right next to the cathedral, one of the landmarks of Cologne. We'll walk to a local restaurant serving white asparagus, which is in season just in these springtime months. Cologne is also known for its Kolsch beer, which is served without limits until you put your coaster on top of your cup. Join us for a beer and we'll find out where Philipp is now.
Obviously, you came to Temple, Texas as an exchange student. I know that your family, though, had a history with Rotary and with being host parents or with the program. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I've got an older brother who went to Australia with Rotary or Rotex, and it's usually the families who send kids also take kids in, and I think we started 2 years before my brother went to Australia to host exchange students, because sometimes it's hard to find volunteers to take the kids in. So I think I probably was 10 something, 10ish when we had our first exchange student, and she stayed for I think 4 months. She was an American, which probably made me choose America, having a big sister, and maybe choose America for my exchange here. And then we had a few kids from France, Brazil, I think 3 before I left, and so.
Was your father or your mother a Rotarian?
My father.
My father.
Yeah, and so for me it was kind of because my brother did it, and I kind of before I went, I had contact with exchange student for 6 years. It was kind of natural to me to do it as well.
I mean, were you encouraged, or you just started on your own, or both?
Neither nor, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's for my mother it was hard to let her child go, which for all 3 of us. But I think they supported me, but it's difficult to say if it was a decision that I really made consciously, or if it was just implemented by being around exchange students, having a feeling like, okay, that's the normal thing to do.
Yeah.
So for me, the decision to go was quite easy, and the only hard thing is to accept that, or be brave enough if you're not happy, or if it's not working, to say, okay, I'm coming back. Because going away for a year, you tell all your friends, okay, I'll see you in a year, bye,
then you show up 2 months later.
Show up 2 months later. So that's probably the biggest yet dent an ego can get, especially being an adolescent. So that was probably the hardest to not overestimate your courage. Maybe decision to go was quite easy. It's when you made the decision, then you sometimes have doubts, I guess.
Right. So, here, Doctor. I mean, being around this exchange program most of your life, you probably already knew more than most kids, but I know that Germany probably did a pretty good job of giving you a pre-exchange year orientation,
Yeah.
and then
So there were 4 big Rotex meetings the year before leaving. I actually don't really remember in what grade you have to apply. Because it's more than a year before you leave, I think.
maybe you're 15 or so, whatever.
Yeah. So, and there you meet all the exchange students that are in your district right now, and all the kids that are going to leave next rotation, so to say. And it was 3 or 4 weekends staying overnight and talking to the ones that came back and to the ones that are going and to the students that are here, and having some workshops and games, and it was very informative.
You got an orientation when you got to Texas as well, or do you remember?
I'm not so sure. I mean, I think there were 3 meetings, and was it in Waco?
I don't know. I don't remember. I mean,
but there were. I met I think it was 7 exchange students in our district that year, and I met them I think 3 times.
Okay. All right.
If it was a week or 2 where before school started, and there was your Argentinian Jose and his brother were still there, so I met them 1 year. So that was kind of my orientation for Temple. Because
Jose was there for the end of his year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we kind of overlapped for a week, maybe 2. I'm not 100% sure, because in my mind school started fairly early after I arrived.
I think so.
I'm rather inclined to say it was a week.
Yeah.
But you picked me up in Austin, and then we
Okay.
got into your Nissan.
And we played some tennis, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And racquetball during the year.
No, tennis. Racquetball was later when I visited in 2007.
That year we didn't play racquetball much?
Not much, more tennis. Yeah.
Okay. Did you play tennis at high school or anything?
Yeah.
You did?
It was my 6th period, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that maybe at this point that you remember about that year? The hardships, the adjustments and things like that?
Yeah. I found difficult at the beginning is that not being able to speak as fluently as at the end of your exchange year, and not being able to communicate everything you want to say. You kind of try to say yes to stuff even if you don't understand everything. So if you for the first few weeks, if somebody says something like, to you, and yes, and that
would it be all right if we didn't feed you for the next week? Yes, of course.
So I'm not quite sure how to deal with that. That's probably more of good information for the host family. Yeah, that they should. But I remember Jennifer talking to me about you two on the way to the supermarket, about the one song where we're singing about suicide. Get yourself together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
I was sitting there. Yes. And I kind of remember that you had a question for me. And I was like, and it took me. I think he said, "Okay, did you understand anything?"
But it's funny because if I think back over the years, all the students we had 15 or 18 or something a big number. I mean, I would think your English was really strong. That would be my memory of it.
Yeah, I mean, I had 6 years of English,
Yeah,
before I went to the States.
but I know the conversational, it's one thing to study it, it's another thing
Yeah,
to speak it. I know that's
yeah.
different.
I mean, I think that, yeah, if you look at the Scandinavian or the or Netherlands, where the TV is in English, I think they're still more fluent because they hear it a lot more.
Yeah. And even, yeah, like, I mean, we've talked about American movies, they're always dubbed here, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're not,
Yeah.
although recently we've been talking to people and several of them have surprised me, and I'll say, oh, your English is really good. And he goes, I learned it all in computer games,
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
PlayStation or something, probably the one thing that they were using English for.
Yeah, my mom was in Cambridge for a year, so and she's an English teacher. I guess it was quite strong, but still different if people talk to you in a normal pace.
Yeah.
Especially when they get the feeling that you talk quite good, to understand what they're saying. And then again, the colloquial English is a lot different than the one you study at school. I had French 4 because by the time I went to Texas, I had 4 years of French as well. So I was in French 3. I had a separate table with one other girl, and the other girl and I, we had French 4. The teacher, she did both courses in one class, and I remember one time that being a story about colloquial English being different than the one you study at school, because she, I don't know, taught the third French 3 some word that has a different colloquial meaning in French, and then she asked me, Philip, did you experience any words that are different here than you thought they were? And I was like, yeah, the shit. And that is still a thing all of my friends remember, because it was through the whole junior grade. It was it was told that I said the shit in class, but that is one example. Or when we were at the supermarket and Jennifer first said, "Okay, Philip, are you fine? I'm gonna go to the restroom." It's like, okay, and then she saw that I'm confused, and she said, "Okay, it's the bathroom, the toilet." I was like, okay. So because we get taught the UK English, so there's some trunk and boot stuff like that. So that was at the beginning a bit more confusing than I thought it would.
Philip, what advice would you give a young person who maybe has heard that you were an exchange student and comes to you and says, I'm thinking about doing an exchange year? What advice would you give them?
Do it.
Go to Australia.
No, I think I was afraid that I'm going to be sent to Kansas or Nebraska or any Midwest, because I thought, okay, I'm going to be on a farm and my next neighbor is a pig 30 miles away, and so I thought that would have scared me.
Yeah.
And looking back, I think it doesn't really matter where you go, because you always find nice people. It's life-changing to go away for a year. It makes going to university and leaving your family easier, actually, because you've already done it before. There is no shame in trying it out, and after 3 months, if it's just not for you, saying saying, okay, I have to go back. It's probably a big dent in your ego at first, but I have other students in my school who came back earlier, and it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not as big as a deal as you think before going home, and you find nice people everywhere. Depending on what country, I guess you go to, forces you to become a bit more open. The US is, I guess, a bit easier to get in contact because they are more open than the Germans.
Yeah.
The Germans you have to crack first.
Yeah. One of the things that we notice is from, our first exchange student was from Belgium, Anakeen, 25 years ago, actually. We just saw her a few weeks ago. And at that time, there was very little communication back home. We didn't, you didn't have cell phones, or she didn't. You didn't have maybe the internet quite like it is now. So maybe talking to her family back home was maybe a rare thing, maybe a couple times a year. You're maybe at a period where that was a little more frequent, but did you experience being homesick, or? I'm trying to think, did I come in your room and you were curled up on the floor crying?
Every morning. The beginning, I guess you're always a bit homesick. On the other hand, everything's new. I think the one time I really was homesick was after my parents left visiting me, and that was like 9 months in my exchange year. So, but I think that's a very individual thing. We had one Brazilian student who was homesick for 9 months until he kind of got over it, which was actually during the year I was away. So I just heard my parents talk about it, my brothers. So it's very normal to feel homesick, and in my case, we had a online messenger, ICQ, which doesn't exist anymore, which I think I used 3 times because of the time difference. I remember one time I woke up and thought I overslept, and then got ready, and then I saw, it was an hour early. And I went on the computer and talked with my friends and my brother when they finished school before I had to go. I didn't really talk a lot with my parents. I wrote email. I think I wrote 1 email every month to my friends and family to keep them updated on what I'm doing. But I didn't really use the telephone a lot. Not just because of the cost, but because on the one hand, I wanted to commit to speaking English, and on the other hand, I think hearing voices triggers homesickness more than just reading emails. I think the iPhone came out the year after I left.
I'm curious how much you kept in contact with anybody else from your exchange student. Obviously, we've stayed in touch, but I know you have friends, the Mormons and things like that.
So I'm still in contact with the Tucker Hermans, the one that was in my grade, and a bit with his younger brother. I didn't use Facebook for a long time. And then I forgot my password, and now it's a 2-factor authentication, and I never implemented that, so I can't really get in. So I only have Tucker's email address. I just wrote him when Sophie was born and he went back. He's in Salt Lake City, so I'm still in contact with him.
And he studied robotics, didn't he? In Berlin? Or?
Yeah, he was in Berlin. His younger brother was in Berlin too, and I guess that's why I kept in touch with them a bit more than. Like I would say I had 3 close friends in Temple. One, Alan, he got into film, and he I think 5 years ago, he wrote that he's doing a movie in Czechoslovakia. If we could meet up, which unfortunately didn't work out, but I'm pretty much in contact with Tucker, and I don't know. Maybe it's my wife always complains about me making plans, being a guy with my guy friends, because our plans for the weekends are like, okay, I'm arriving at 8 and I'm leaving Sunday at 11. Wonderful. That's all it is. And my wife is like, okay, what are you gonna eat? Where are you gonna go? And stuff like that. And that's I don't know. With my best friend, sometimes we don't. Like, he was my best man at my wedding. Sometimes we don't talk for 4 months, but if we see each other, it feels like we've never been apart.
That's
and
great.
It feels like the friendship you can form in a year being away with another family is kind of the same. Like, I haven't talked to you guys in 2 years, I guess.
It feels natural.
It feels natural, and we still manage to meet.
Right.
And I think with the Hermans, it's kind of the same. If the children are in the near future a bit older, and we might go to Temple, I feel like I can call you up and say, can we stay a few days at your place and go to the Hermans?
What advice would you have to somebody who's thinking about being a host family?
Well, that's probably a better question for you. But my advice for the host family would be, in the first few months, host student might not always understand everything that you're telling them. Kind of have to be open to be accustomed to different cultures, like punctuality in Germany. Even though you have bad experience with the German Bahn right now, I give you that, but normally punctuality is a big thing in Germany, and I remember my dad being a bit annoyed at first by the Brazilians, who always took an hour longer when we said, okay, we're going to leave for our weekend trip at 4 o'clock, and it was like 4 o'clock and the suitcase wasn't packed yet. So you kind of adjust to that. The fix was to tell them we leave at 3. So, but stuff like that, and it widens your horizon as well. So, and I mean, if you don't really like it, but one of your kids is going, it's 3 different people for 3 months, and it's done. It's foreseeable time frame, I guess, and. It's a nice experience. Kids coming over at 15, 16, 17 years old, they are still in puberty. Sometimes they don't even want to hang out with grown-ups. So it's the worst that can happen is that which happened to my family as well, get an exchange students where you feel, okay, he doesn't really want to be part of this host family. Then you have a host student living
Staying
in one of
room,
your room for 3 months and going to school, and you see him at the lunch and dinner and breakfast, but it doesn't really hurt. So I don't really think there's a negative side to being a host family, although I've never been a host myself, so there probably are some negatives. From my point of view, the worst that can happen is to not see the exchange student.
Philip, can you remember back when you got back, the Rotary Club that sent you abroad? What interaction did you have with them, and has that continued in any way? After I got back, I did a presentation about my year, and then I, for the next 1.5 years, I participated with Rotex, Okay.
But with Rotary, not as much.
Okay.
But that is, I think, because the club system is a bit different than in the US. I've found it a bit more open in the US. In Germany, it's still the gentleman's club where they meet in the evenings, and you took me sometimes to the normal meetings, and in Germany that is not very usual to take the exchange students.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of interaction with Rotary when you're not a member.
Okay.
And
And as an adult working here, do you know anything about the Rotary clubs?
in Cologne,
Yeah, there must be
no,
several.
no. Yeah, probably, but that is reserved for the Kölner Klüngel. Yeah,
You
you
you wouldn't necessarily feel well.
yeah, and I mean it's from what I remember, maybe it changed, but every profession is not allowed in abundance, except for journalists and priests, I think, something
Well,
like that.
that's changed in the United States.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
okay.
know whether that's changed here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think they've definitely, even during my time as president, they had loosened that quite a bit. And this is probably a hard question to ask, but do you think how, if at all, being an exchange student changed your life or made you the person you are today?
Yeah, it's obviously I wouldn't be here. You can answer that question maybe in two ways. Either you can say, okay, if I would have never gone to the US, I might have met someone else during that year and having a totally different life.
Sure.
Not having like that. So in that what if anything could have happened scenario, it obviously changed me. But in a more concrete way, it definitely made me more sure of myself, because even though you have a host family, you at the beginning you're kind of on your own because of the language barrier, and you try to figure out stuff. School is a lot harder in a different language, and the school systems are different. I found it a bit more strict in the US, or a bit longer. I wasn't used to such long hours,
Right.
And then a lot of homework, which takes you longer to finish. So especially in the beginning, you kind of learn how to deal with not hardships, but tougher situations, because there's homesickness, everything's new, everything is harder, you can't communicate as well, and you don't have any friends yet, and you learn to accept that not everything is in your power to change, and that you have to be patient, and guess that it'll work out in the end.
I know our schools are different in a lot of ways, and so we have tracks like IB
AP,
students or advanced placement AP, and that can be challenging in a different way because you are dealing with the language and some other things. And were you even getting credit for this back in Germany? You probably were.
I got credit. I remember that I started American History AP, and because I didn't have any background on American history, I got to basic American history, because that was a lot, because there was a lot of knowledge to have before going there. and I didn't even like the founding of Jamestown.
Yeah.
So I didn't know.
Right.
So that's starting by zero, going to American History AP. That was very hard.
Yeah.
But
How about in
the
math and
sciences,
science? Yeah.
the sciences. I think I had biology and chemistry AP, French 4, which I don't think there was an AP or basic. It was just French 4. I changed math, I think. I think I was in English AP, which because I didn't change it. So I think only history and math. And I remember one time we had a very nice teacher, but I don't know if she was sick, but there was from the Temple has a community college or a college,
Yeah, Temple
there
College.
was from Temple College we had like 2 months Temple College teacher teaching
Like
us.
as a substitute teacher? Yeah.
All the King's Men, and that was really good. Yeah, looking back, I might have so to get credit for Germany, I had to have 2 sciences, maths, 2 languages, something else I think, which were like 6 out of the 7 classes had to be one of those, and my 7th class was tennis. So I didn't really have any of the cool classes that you are able to do in America. Looking back, I don't know if I would maybe recommend, okay, just repeat the year in Germany and do, I don't know,
classes that you would never have here.
Yeah. And I mean, you probably have
Yeah.
to kind of find a balance, not to do just classes where you're not mentally challenged and don't have any homework, but I don't know, math, English, and chemistry, and one sport, and I don't know, band, acting, and
You didn't do theater or music?
I did theater, but as the after school assignment. I know we did the musical during Super Bowl.
Okay. Yes.
So I remember coming back home at the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl that year, and going to school at, I don't know, when it was dark, and leaving school when it was dark in the winter, which was pretty nice, these extracurricular activities. But there's a lot that the American school system offers what you don't have in Germany, because in Germany we have more classes because our schedules are a bit different. We don't have the same schedule every day, so we fit more classes in a week, but we don't have the variety.
Sure.
At least in my school we had it.
Philipp is a physician with a specialization in radiology. He's living in Cologne, but about to make some pretty big decisions with regards to his career and where his family would like to live.
If I'm inclined to do the full radiology specialty, they said that I can't do both. If I use my 2 years, which were 4 years because I worked only 50% at the university, if I take those 2 years for the subspecialty, these months are burned, and the numbers of the examinations, and I'd have to do another 4 years to become a radiologist. And then I talked to the radiology department at the university and told them that I wanted to switch, which was okay. So now I only needed 14 months to get the second specialty, and since Lisa and I are not 100% sure if we stay here in Cologne, we thought it's better to get the second specialty fast.
Yeah.
So that's why I've only took 2 months now.
Yeah.
Plus, it's expensive live in a German city as big as Cologne, Hamburg, Munich, Berlin. Would be different in Münden. Thing we hope for is that we know by summer, August 26, where we are going to be staying for the rest of our working life. Yeah? Because that's when Jonas goes to elementary school, and we are open to move before secondary school, but our dream would be to have everything in order before that, because change is difficult. And so we're kind of on a schedule there.
Okay.
But it's I've better options to get jobs with the two specialties, because in Germany it's a bit weird, and they have for diagnostic exams it's pretty good to have both, because you can basically get more money because the financial system.
And remind me, is Lisa the same specialty? Or?
She is radiology. She's a radiologist, and she did her certification last year.
Is she planning to go back to work, or?
Yeah, she worked until March now, but that's the thing. She can go back, but if we move, she probably not. That's pretty much the plan right now. But I always hope to become a partner in one of the private practices, and the last 10 to 20 years, it has become a business model for investors to buy private practices, radiologists, nuclear medicine, and orthopedic private practices, and dermatology practices, because they get a high revenue, and so it's really hard to find a spot to become a partner in Germany. That's why I did this second specialty, because
your chances.
Because the billing procedure with both specialties is a bit better. So I either get a better contract as an employee at one of the private practices which are run by some investment corporation, or I have better chances to really become a partner.
Okay.
And so I'm still right now I kind of settled with I'm probably not going to become a partner, because it's very unlikely to find one of those spots near somewhere where we want to live. Yeah,
I was going to say there are probably opportunities, but you may not want to live in those areas.
So in Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg there are some spots, but to move to another city and develop a new infrastructure, then we can also just stay here in Cologne, where we already have some friends and the kids are settled.
You want to be near your parents, I guess?
Or Lisa's parents, or brother's family would be nice. Especially since the third child came. Sometimes when the kindergarten just says, "Okay, we can't take the kids in today."
It'd be nice to have.
And normally it's later than my deadline for calling in sick. Right now, with parental leave, Lisa will have to compensate for that.
So, between now and next August, you've got some
decisions to make.
It's going to be an exciting time.
And we'll see. But I kind of settled with being an employee and not living in one of the main cities in Germany. It's feasible to get property. That's
more affordable.
yeah, that's pretty much what annoys me the most of living in Cologne is having to rent.
Yeah,
Because that's money you never see again.
exactly.
As his 2 months of parental leave is coming to an end, we left Philip at the train station and he headed back to his family for his final 2 days at home. We'll look forward to an August update to see if he stayed in Cologne or moved on to a job in a smaller town.